Yvonne and Melissa and Vivian.
Yeah,
That was a bittersweet episode of The Amazing Race for you guys last night. What was it like watching it?
Same. I would
yeah,
describe it as bittersweet.
yeah. It was rough, but it was
Yeah.
yeah.
It was beautiful to see her at the end, our little miracle. I mean, we didn't realize it at the time, but we had already started the IVF process, and going into that leg, we had a 1 in 5 chance at $1 million. But that was actually, we had a higher chance of winning $1 million than we did of conceiving her. So she is truly our miracle. We only had one embryo and it worked, and we are just,
we're reverse IVF because I had
we are beside
and,
ourselves. So that was really cool to see for the first time in history of The Amazing Race that they showed an update, because it had been so
Yeah, I
long
was like,
since.
I don't think they've ever done that before.
No. So that was really cool. Thank you, production. That was the coolest thing.
I'm still trying to hang my head on being the worst singer of the race, but apparently I don't know if I'm going to make it. But I want a record under my belt, and I'm not sure if that's going to.
She loves her lullabies, so I don't know what you're talking about.
She still cries when I
She
sing
sings
it.
great.
Well, how did that like update come about? Were they just like, can you send a photo? Like, we'd like to include this in the show? Like,
So they floated the idea by us to see if we would be okay with it, and we were. The picture in the hospital is just our favorite picture, where we're both holding her, and it was literally a second after she was born. And so we didn't know if they were actually going to do it, but oh my gosh,
she's only 2 months old, so
she's only 8 weeks old. So she literally was born 5 days before the show aired.
oh my God, that's amazing. That's so cool.
So we've been going through every week, watching the show and, dealing with lack of sleep. So this has been a whirlwind, but that's parenting, right? And
for sure.
race, a whirlwind too.
Well, getting back to the race, probably less important now, but it seemed like you guys were close at the end. Like you got to the pit stop and Amber and Vinny were still there. Like, was that just editing or no?
No, it was 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was tough.
Because I keep telling her, we're in so many things you didn't see. Like, we love production. It is so intense. What they do to get this all working. And so it's
one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a true production. And once we left the waterfall, unfortunately, one of the things that happened was one of the crew members injured himself, and he had like a leg injury. And so we were held before we could get in our truck to get to the cacao.
And we didn't think to ask for anything, but then it turns out we lost by about that amount of time. And so
we waited longer than
so many things like that, where we watched that and we're like, oh my gosh, we had no idea. So we took 4 out of 5 teams took the way around hugging the water to get to the pit stop. And what we noticed was Vinny and Amber went straight down those steps of the amphitheater. And, even that was 2 minutes right there. So there were so many moments watching it where we're like, oh my gosh. And so I think the toughest part for me watching it was seeing that I only had one wrong the first time that I got to check. I didn't know that, because they don't tell you what you have wrong. And so just so many things last night was like, oh my gosh.
I can't believe this is the second week in a row that there's a crew issue that affected the eliminated team.
Potentially.
I think there's more than that just people, that are happening. I mean, last season there was a big issue. There's all kinds of things, that little small things, but we can't blame it on that. I mean, I think
that was
one factor. Yeah,
it contributed.
That was one factor, but every season, I mean, I know last season there was another issue that happened listening to other people's podcasts. So it happens, and that's the race. That's life.
I mean, well, the first roadblock, like it seemed like things were going well. Like, Melissa, you teamed up with Cesar, and you guys seemed to be crushing it. And like you said, you just got that one wrong the first time. So how long did you spend there after watching everyone leave?
It was well under 10 minutes. I mean, we anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, but
that's including the time we had to stop. So
it wasn't very long. I knew that it wasn't that long, so I kept saying it's the start of the race. It's the start of the race. And so we weren't particularly concerned.
We made up the time at the cacao
and we
pods.
did make up the time at the cacao pods. What they didn't show was we only had to go down twice to get the pods, and every other team seemed to have to go down a lot more from what it appeared.
They all went to the same side.
And they went to the same side, and we went to a different side where they were just right there. And so we made up a lot of time at the cacao pods. And and then so we definitely made up time, but that was tough. We were not that far behind.
Mm-hmm.
It's top 5 teams. I mean, at this point in the last few legs, teams were within minutes and seconds. Even the previous in Barbados, we were within seconds on the mat with another team. So I think that it's just the nature of the race at this point. But I think the thing that isn't noted, I don't know if it comes through for you. I'd be curious on your thoughts some other time. But I mean, these were short legs, and so this is, I don't know if it's how rare it is, but I think we even made a record for one of the shortest leg in our season. But I think that, you know, just contributed to our inability to be able to catch up and make up a lot of time, especially with the 30 minutes.
And a lot of the roadblocks only took the majority of the season under 15 minutes. So, you know, that the pickleball, every team was in and out of there in 10 to 15 minutes. It was really fast. So when you have staggered starts and you don't have these epic challenges that can take 6 hours, you know, like finding the needle in the haystack in a hay bale, you know, that's the type of challenge where we have the endurance. We were ready to sleep on the airport floors, whereas some of the other teams said they didn't want to do that. And so, like, we were ready for this insane, epic challenge. And so, you know, we were a little bummed to see that, but we were pretty stoked that the waterfall was, that was a really good challenge.
That was a traditional
great production.
Yeah, this one was like a nice mix of like physical and mental.
Yes.
So
excellent.
yeah. Well, before he left, like Cesar like gave you some clues and, you know, tried to help you a little bit. Like, do you wish he just like told you what was wrong, or do you think he just didn't know what was wrong with yours?
No. I do not wish
he collaboration before that. She was the one telling him.
Yeah.
And I do not wish at that point that he had told me that one that was wrong, because like Cesar said in his recap, or in his confessional, you know, we were both super fans. I'm a super fan. I'm a huge super fan. And so we bonded with that with Cesar and Ricky, and I would not have wanted him to have solved that puzzle. So for me, he told me details of, you know, oh, it's in the details. But unfortunately, I already knew that by then. In the beginning of the challenge, what they didn't show was I thought we had to put the correct order. And so I was focusing more of my energy on that. And so he was trying to tell me, no, it's not the order. And unfortunately, I did know that by that point. But I was okay with him. You know, we had a conversation that didn't show where, you know, we kind of talked. He was whispering to me because the other 3 teams were there listening. And I said, you know what, you know, no. I am happy.
He made a judgment call. He didn't want everyone to hear, and he was like, he needed to go. So I think he did his intention was to be helpful. So, but again, I think at the end of the day, he's already promised us an all-inclusive big cruise to go with him, with them. So we're like, you know what, we'll take it. If you know, you couldn't give us that one that was wrong, but no, I'm just,
this deal is still good, right? Yeah.
I think he said he's going to give us the trip that they won on that trip.
We're on that.
They've won way too many things.
Exactly.
They won a trip around the world. I mean, that's pretty
They literally won the trip around the world. Yes.
You know, like a mom's week off, you know, like
you know, we never had our baby moon, so we're up for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how was the baseball? That didn't seem to be as difficult for you, Yvonne.
No, except I think the first 2 were pretty straightforward, as you saw. It was the last
catch a grounder,
throw first, right? And the bat was, I don't know if you noticed, but there was only one aluminum bat in all of the wooden bats. There was one blue one in the thing, and you know, aluminum bats hit longer, like once would have helped me. And I don't know what I was thinking, and I went to grab a wooden one. I was just, you know, trying to get through, and I pulled the rod, I'm gonna call it that, and just used my strength and like went like just going after it. I'm like, well, I don't know why I'm going after it. So then you see me kind of going slow. Okay, I just think, how do I make contact with this thing? And so anyway, that was me doing so many 360s, getting dizzy. But anyway, I finally got it, and it really didn't take that long. It was just one after the other, but it was, and at that point, even we were so close because they got lost.
Vinny and Amber were lost at that point.
You didn't see once you got in the taxis, every one of them, some of them knew where to go and some of them didn't. So we asked every single one, and only one of the ones that were left actually knew where
it was the last one we asked, and it was the last one in the group. And so we are glad we held out, because he was intense. He was the best driver we had the entire season.
Oh my, he was amazing. Of course, the leg, we were just starting to gain steam with our navigation. Last 2 legs, we made up so much time and caught up.
So
in
much
30
time
minutes.
in Barbados. we
And
made
there's
up
no
so-
navigation. It's like, oh my God.
Mhm.
So it was just like, but that's the race, right? You just never know. They're going to change things up
Yeah,
on you.
it's like
Just
I'm
like
ready to
parenting.
drive and there's no driving. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just like parenting. You think you got it. And then even in these short 8 weeks, we're like, oh, wow, here's a new thing.
Yeah, we don't have it.
Yeah. Well, what was your mindset at that point? Because you obviously knew you were last, and then you're like "We're going to the pit stop now." Like, did you think like you know we know that Amber Vinny got lost? Were you thinking like, oh please, like let someone be lost?
So actually, I'm surprised they didn't show it. We must have said 100 times in that taxi ride, because it was a long taxi ride. It's okay, we still have a detour. It's okay, we still have a detour. So we thought it was gonna be 2 roadblocks, a route info, and a detour.
We were hoping.
And no, I was convinced. And so then when we got to the pink street and we opened it, they didn't show it, but I think a cuss word even came out. I'm surprised they didn't show the bleep, because I was like, oh my gosh, no, it's the pit stop and this is the last clue in the box. And so at that point we knew, but we still ran our hardest, and what they didn't really show was, obviously was
We ran different directions.
we
But
ran
still,
different
It
directions.
just, the timing
So,
just didn't.
yeah, it was just crazy how close that was. But no, we thought it was still close. We knew we didn't leave that far behind.
Mhm.
We had so much hope.
Yeah. Well, lastly, has Vivian been enjoying the season, watching her moms, or has she just
So
kind of
much.
just been sleeping through it?
Oh no, she's
She's been awake during the episodes, actually. We're just shocked. So I'm like, okay.
yeah, she's very alert, and oh my gosh, she lets us eat before she cries, and she lets us watch every episode before she cries. So
She
she's a-
knows. Yeah.
She knows. Let us just have this moment. you know.
she's very good. She's loved it, and we've already told her that when she turns 18, she gets to pick who she's gonna run the race with. And I think it's gonna be me. No, I'm just kidding.
Doubt it. We'll see.
You could just flip a coin for it, maybe. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, guys. Well, congratulations again. It was fun watching you,
Thank you.
and have a great day.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
you
you
too.
too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.